Welcome to Shadow Psychology. Picture this, you're sitting in a room, you're minding your own business, you're doing absolutely nothing. Yet later on, you hear the whispers. People are calling you intense, cold, maybe even arrogant. You know he didn't do anything malicious. So what happened? Well, the truth is, your comfortable silence is actually doing a massive amount of heavy lifting behind the scenes. In this explainer, we're going to decode this psychological mystery. We're going to look at the exact reasons why your quiet nature throws people completely off balance.
We've all heard that classic phrase, right? Watch out for the quiet ones. But think about how wild that actually is. Society treats your peacefulness like a literal warning sign. Why does comfortable silence absolutely terrify some people? Well, we're about to uncover the deep psychology behind this. But here's what most people don't know. It all comes down to 7 core psychological triggers.
Let's start with the very first piece of the puzzle, the unspoken social threat.
You see, simply existing in a space without demanding attention creates instant social friction. In any room, there's this invisible, desperate expectation to perform. But when you don't broadcast your thoughts, when you don't fill the air with meaningless chatter, people instinctively feel like they're being deprived of crucial data. Because you aren't performing for them, their brains panic, and they slap you with these unfair labels: cold, intense, hard to read.
So are you actually intimidating people, or is this all just in your head? Well, let's look at the hidden signs.
Pay close attention, because these are physical, subconscious reactions to your presence. Do people suddenly avoid direct eye contact with you? Do they fail to engage when you share an idea? Listen to their voices. Are they speaking quietly or suddenly in a high-pitched, nervous tone? Maybe they just agree with literally everything you say, or refuse to stand too close to you. Or, my personal favorite, they frantically over-apologize for the smallest inconveniences. If you're seeing these patterns, it is a measurable physical reaction to your silence.
Now, let's dive into the psychology of silence, and specifically, the intense anxiety response that makes this happen.
Here is the second major trigger. It's called unexpected silence. Now, for you, a quiet moment is highly productive, right? It's where you calmly organize your thoughts. But psychological research proves that even a tiny gap in conversation triggers pure, measurable anxiety in most people. It forces a frantic instinct to fill the void. And because you don't share that frantic reflex, your quietness feels like a silent verdict to them. They panic because they have no idea what your verdict is.
Which brings us to our third trigger, the clash of baselines. This perfectly illustrates the friction. Society demands extroverted norms to feel safe. Small talk acts like a social handshake, loud drama shows predictability, but your introverted baseline completely bypasses all of that. You favor deep curiosity and controlled emotions. And because you aren't playing by their loud, predictable rules, your self-control actually registers to their brain as an unpredictable threat.
The fourth reason is purely biological. Introvert cognition is fundamentally different. When you're quiet, your brain is actually processing information through significantly longer, more complex neural pathways before you respond. So what looks like hesitation or coldness on the outside is literally just your brain absorbing incredible depths of data. You aren't plotting against them, you're just processing. Now, let's talk about the fifth reason, emotional mirroring. This one is absolutely fascinating. In conflicts, there's an unspoken social rule that you have to match the emotional intensity of the other person. Psychotherapists have noted that when an extrovert escalates a situation and you stay completely calm and logical, the whole dynamic collapses. Why? Because they misread your lack of emotional mirroring as contempt. You're just being rational, but they see your ironclad self-control as total indifference. And that leads directly into reason 6. As Dr. Jennifer Kahnweiler explains, quiet individuals excel at reading the room, completely without the need to dominate it. Because your brain naturally takes in the full picture, the hesitations, the shifts in posture, the unsaid words, people instinctively pick up on your intense observation. They feel like they're under a microscope, and that makes them highly uncomfortable because they realize you see the truth they weren't quite ready to show.
But now, we reach the seventh, and easily the most destabilizing factor of all, the immense power of boundaries.
Just look at what psychologist Ana Maru's Mendoza says here. Strong personal boundaries, worn naturally without apology, can come across as arrogance to people who've never had to earn respect. Think about that for a second. You don't hand out your warmth like it's free. You wait to see who is actually worth your energy. But people who are addicted to instant, automatic validation, they mislabel your natural discernment. They mistake your quiet confidence for snobbery, simply because they've never actually had to work for someone's respect before.
Let me give you a brilliant, real-world example of this. There was a woman whose coworker was relentlessly pushing for small talk, desperately trying to force an emotional reaction out of her. And her response? She just calmly said, "I'm not your entertainment, I'm your coworker." Just wow, right? With a handful of words, she completely shut down that predictable social drama. She didn't even raise her voice. It's calm, it's factual, and it is incredibly intimidating to someone fishing for a reaction.
Which brings us to the ultimate threat, the underlying truth that explains everything. You simply do not need their approval. In a society where validation is constantly traded like currency, your ability to sit alone with your own thoughts and feel genuinely content is a terrifying superpower to others. The usual tools of social pressure, they just bounce right off of you.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Carla Marie Manley perfectly defines this as intimidation via insecurity. Here is the real secret. You aren't doing anything aggressively intimidating. You are just beautifully self-sufficient. And when people encounter that level of self-sufficiency, it naturally strips away their typical social leverage. Their feeling of intimidation, it's really just a reflection of their own exposed insecurities. It's their own deep human fear of not measuring up to you.
So, how do we handle this? How do we redefine the narrative while navigating a world that is so terrified of our silence? If you do want to subtly ease that tension, there are a few simple, highly effective steps. Just smile a bit more. Offer a genuine compliment. Ask them a quick question about their day. You aren't changing your core personality here, you're simply throwing a bone to their anxiety-riddled brains. You're gently signaling that your quiet nature isn't an active threat to them. But above all else, if you take nothing else away from this explainer, remember this: you are not cold. You are not broken. You just don't perform for people. Being called intimidating is not a personality flaw. It just means you are a rare individual who refuses to perform neediness in a world that is completely obsessed with it. Your silence is your ultimate strength.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought to really ponder. Are you actually intimidating, or are you just beautifully free from needing their approval? I hope this completely shifts how you view your own silence the next time you walk into a crowded room. Stay curious, embrace the quiet, and we'll see you next time.